Hey, what's up? Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with the couch in space. We are back for season 3. It's been a little bit, but, we had to stop at a space station, clear the cosmic debris, do that thing in that one episode of Next Gen where like they shoot the big laser wash over. I'm just gonna do a little bit of stellar maintenance here, and let's see here. Are we? Oh yeah, we are live. Okay, great. New URLs. Thank you for checking us out on Facebook.com/Space Couch Show, TwitchTV.com/Space Couch Show, and YouTube.com/Space Couch Show. So, let us take a little sponsor spot for the new TigerSquawkDigital.com. You can check out the new Monomer coming soon, the new Mr. Zoth and the Were Spiders, the new Nightsicles available now, and also Industrial from Norway, and of course Cluster Fight, which just came out, 39 tracks for free, Tiger Squawk, and the Gothicals are in Cincinnati on January 9th. That's all on Tiger Squawk Records, which, along with Space Couch, is now housed under the parent company, if you like, which is TigerSquawkDigital.com. We're just going to do a little bit of that. Super good. And so, right back into this business. Okay. So, now that we're back for season 3, I wanted to do something pretty super awesome special, and that is the following guest, which we'll bring out shortly. This is going to be great. Ladies and gentlemen, Tale of Nuclear Sun, what is up, sir?
Greetings.
Hey. Hey, what's up to Dirty Cheek on Twitch TV? Tal, I will try to keep you apprised of chat room comments as they come in. There might be a slight delay because they're coming from Earth and I'm all the way out here in the Oort cloud in space. But you know all about that because you are at the center of your own solar system as Nuclear Sun.
That's right.
I was cleared to ask the following question.
Oh, before we started, actually.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to address some frequently asked questions. I've got some answers, so
fantastic.
That's all right.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
So these are some answers to some frequently asked questions.
Okay.
Yes. No. Yeah, sort of. 34. Not really. Yes. And only on Tuesdays.
Okay, there you have it. I mean, I don't even know if we need to do the rest of the show. That puts a lot of issues to rest. No ambiguity. It's nice to have it finally in black and white. 34. Congratulations, man. Damn, that is impressive. Where might we you know what?
I didn't mean to completely derail
No,
your
you
show.
didn't. I just derailed my own self there. How did you get the name Nuclear Sun?
I came up. I decided on that. I want to say I was like 9 years old.
Really?
I had a piano teacher, and I had at the time untreated ADHD, and it was just a nightmare to like focus on learning scales and things. And she had this huge keyboard, like a huge, with tons of sounds on it. And so the apple at the end of the stick or whatever they call it, carrot. was if I stayed on track for 50 minutes, then I got 10 minutes at the end on that keyboard.
Wow.
And there was this sound on there called Nuclear Sun that you just had to hold the key down, and it took forever, and it was just this sort of energy charge and then this massive explosion, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And that was kind of my that point when I realized my musical tastes were not the typical.
That is amazing.
And so it really stuck with me.
Not only can you recall that weird Ryzen hit on like an ARP 2000 or whatever that might have been, but it's a weird memory, sort of whose genesis is in synthesis. If you'll pardon my alliteration, and that brings us up to now. That's pretty great. I resonate with that story. I used to play. I took guitar lessons, and I liked the idea of playing guitar, but I could just not concentrate on a goddamn scale or anything to save my life. I was just like, just tell me how to play the Smashing Pumpkins song, and we'll be good. But the Nuclear Sun. Now you know. Speaking of Nuclear Sun, as is the point of Space Couch today, you just released a new single for a track called "Bring It." That's pretty awesome.
I suppose it is. Yeah.
Well, I will prove to you at home that it is. We're gonna cut to a little clip of this now. In theory. All right, so tell you will be able to hear the music, but the people at home will. Pretty baller cover art. We'll get into a bit of that. Pretty great sound. This single. And we're back in. So, the new "Bring It" single, that sounds pretty awesome, man. Is that indicative of what we might be hearing from Nuclear Sun in future times?
I mean, my style has always been to combine sort of electronic dance music and rock and metal, so it's definitely going to be sticking to that.
Cool, man. Cool.
That song I actually wrote a long time ago. I wrote it as a theme song for a superhero I made up.
Awesome.
And I was going to be releasing sort of one of my little side project instrumental albums of sort of like a soundtrack for that superhero. I started working on that a few months ago, and then I got the gig with City of Titans, so I repurposed a lot of that music for that soundtrack.
Okay.
So the one song that wasn't going to make it was a very specific theme song for my own superhero, obviously. So I decided to just release that on its own.
Okay. That's an origin story within an origin story. I dig it. Let's get into that, because this is super exciting. You're doing the music for an upcoming City of Heroes-ish video game. Yeah? City of Titans?
Yep.
Do you know when we're going to see that title or anything like that?
I can't speak directly for the developers, obviously, but they are looking to release something playable, like a beta of some kind this year.
Oh, that's exciting. So, how did you get involved with? Is it the music for like the whole game, or are you doing like a few tracks, or how does that work for you?
For the most part, I'm doing all the music. There's a few tracks. There's a few tracks from the guy who was doing the music before that they're leaving in. It's mostly like the menu music and some of the cinematics. But for the most part, it's just me. I've gotten some other friends to contribute some tracks too. Sean from Cyanotic
Oh
is
yeah,
going to be doing a few, and Peter from AKLF
kick
has done a
ass,
few.
man.
Excuse me 1 second.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You know, we will talk amongst ourselves. Uh, Nuclear Sun is neither nuclear nor sun. Uh, uh, Mindless Faith, love it. Big ups to Rick Fur. Um, the you good?
Yep.
Fantastic. So uh, this is basically like this City of Titans thing. Is that like just basically a new Nuclear Sun album? It sounds like they would require a lot of work.
It's not going to be a Nuclear Sun album.
Right. Okay.
It's going to be basically composed by Talkleaguer.
Okay.
We're looking into getting it released through Glitch Mode, because there's going to be Glitch Mode artists on it. But you're not going to hear like more Nuclear Sun tracks or more Cyanotic tracks. It's tracks made for obviously the game and the different settings.
Okay.
There's definitely going to be an industrial and electronic touch to it, because it would be stupid for them to ask me to do music and then just do like a Hans Zimmer score. But the great thing about this score is there are a lot of sort of one of the draws of the game, their little gimmick, if you were, is there are a lot of factions, and rather than have heroes and villains, you sort of decide your path based on who you associate with and who you fight and what sort of missions you do. And each of these factions are going to have 3 to 5 tracks of just completely different genres of music suited to that.
That's really cool.
So you're going to see a lot of different styles and little hints of different artists in each style, but it's going to change depending on who you're fighting.
Okay, like this is sounding like it's going to combine two of my favorite things in life, which are superheroes and industrial music.
That is exactly what I'm hoping for.
Fantastic.
And also same here.
All right, cool. We'll get into that. Okay, so check out City of Titans, spelled like you would spell it. We will put up a link in the show notes. Let's circle back a little bit, because you had mentioned something that's I think is pretty awesome. You are the fill in the blank CEO leader type person of Glitch Mode.
I'm not the CEO.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I would say like maybe vice president, sorta. My main title is artist relations. It's really more about organizing everybody and finding new artists and just keeping in touch with the artists, making sure that we're helping them.
Awesome.
With what they need and stuff like that.
Glitch Mode Recordings, for the people at home, is a label or collective, or correct my noun usage, but it has been around for a while, has put out amazing releases. I just recorded another podcast earlier today with a good friend of mine, Adam from Big Time Kill, who has just joined Glitch Mode. So many compilations and wonderful artists, the aforementioned Cyanotic, Left Spine Down, and of course our very own Nuclear Sun. Am I presenting Glitch Mode correctly?
I'm not sure that we work. I think we've worked with Left Spine Down. I'm not sure they're actually part of Glitch Mode.
All right, my fault.
Our current lineup is Cyanotic, Conform Co.
Woohoo!
Rabbit Junk. Amnestic. Nuclear Sun. Effect. Big Time Kill. And Paralyze. And if I'm forgetting anybody, I'm so sorry.
You were just wearing a Paralyze shirt.
That's right.
Former guest of Space Couch, along with Big Time and cyanotic, and occasionally left spine down. Sorry that I miscalculated there, but great stuff. Loved that compilation you put out in 2019. How'd you get started with glitch mode?
It I think it goes back about 6 or 7 years. I I'd been putting off doing music for a long time. I grew up in a time when if you wanted to do music, you got a band together.
Yeah.
And I tried that several times with Nuclear Sun, and it was like herding cats because
Right.
I didn't have the language to articulate how I wanted it to sound.
Hmm.
And so it was sort of a struggle to get people to be on board with that because people come from so many different backgrounds, and especially when you form a band and your music isn't already done, they are used to having their own input.
Right.
And I was like, I want you to learn what I've written first, and then we can talk about input. So it was really just a struggle. I got I think I played 2 shows over the course of. I played one in my teens and one in my mid-20s.
Really?
It just took so much work to find the right people. And,
Right.
So I was feeling pretty discouraged about that, and I reached out to Jason Novak, of all people.
Yeah.
And he got me in touch with Sean, and he said, "This is the guy you want to talk to learn how to do this stuff." And so Sean started giving me lessons on Skype on how to
Really?
do things myself. And during that time, we found we had a lot in common, and we really got along. And by the end of this sort of teaching and me coming up with this demo EP, he's like, "You'd probably be a good fit for glitch mode. Do you want to just be on glitch mode?" And I was like, "Of course I want to be on glitch mode."
Awesome.
So it just sort of worked out.
Great.
And then I got overcommitted to my last job, and I didn't release anything else for another maybe 6 years or something.
No.
Maybe 4 or 5. There's a long break in between Rising and the Cleansing.
Okay.
But I finally realized that job was going nowhere, and I left and went back to school and just started really putting myself into it. And when I came out with the Cleansing, that was kind of when they realized it was after the Decode. I want to say the Decode tour. They'd just gotten back from that.
Okay.
And everyone was just tired because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm ready. Let me take on some of this for you. Glitch mode has been there for me, and I want it to be there for other people, and I want to be there for glitch mode. So I think putting out the Cleansing by myself definitely showed Sean that I had what it took to sort of drive myself and take on more responsibility. And he's like, "Yeah, go for it."
Awesome. Well, I mean, you've certainly shown kind of the world. Like 2019 was a great year for you. Put out not only the Cleansing Glitch Mode United Edition, but Dark Side of the Sun, and may have a remix or two, possibly by host of Space Couch, coming out soon. Tell me about Dark Side and Cleansing. Like, how'd those releases come about, and is there like any sort of uniting feeling or sonic quality to them?
So the Rising EP, which was my first release, was meant to be kind of a preview of what was to come. I had 2 tracks from each of these planned releases on it, and then 1 new track. 2 tracks that you'll see on Dark Side of the Sun, and then 2 tracks from the album I have planned after that. Almost like a Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline. Like, here's because I've been writing songs for so long, it was just like a backlog. Like, I need to get these things out.
You don't want to throw them away. Like, you put so much time in.
But I just hadn't reached a point of skill with programming my own stuff that I felt like they were ready to be released.
Mm.
And that's part of why I went back to school. And during that time in school, I took this class called Electronic Music Production 1.
Really? Okay.
And the final for that was to turn in a completed song. So that's when I wrote and turned in The Cleansing.
That was
And then
you
I
did the
took,
cleansing for school?
yep,
That's awesome.
the first track, the actual
Okay.
track, The Cleansing.
Okay.
And so the next quarter I took Electronic Music 2, and I had to do 3 more tracks. And I did Can't Break Me and Second Skin, I believe.
Awesome.
And
Popular.
And that's actually my timer. Hold on.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. So yeah, so the Can't Break Me, Second Skin, and the Cities in Dust cover were my A for that second quarter.
I'm glad you got an A on that.
And then the third quarter, I did Indivisible and Watch the World Burn, or Watch It Burn, and the instrumental track that's the bonus track on the end for another 3 tracks. And I got a year's worth of A's just making that album, and then it was done, and I released it.
I love that. I love that you did it for credit. Dirty Cheek says, "Woo, take it off." H-Vow in What Now says Hans Zimmer Baum. And Adam Schneider says that Tuesday thing blew my mind. I love that you did your album for credit. If we zoom out even more a little bit, like, could you tell me about Nuclear Sun in general, like any sort of gestalt or, if you want to say, mission statement for the project?
I guess it's always been wanting to combine music that I love to make songs that I want to hear. That's always sort of ruined by the fact that I made them and I become very critical of them.
I hear that.
But I start by making tracks that I would want to hear. That's a combination of rock and metal and electronic dance and industrial elements that I enjoy.
Good stuff. Where does that come from anywhere? Like just
my musical development through the years. I think I started. I really broke out from listening to. Well, I guess it started really back in like 3rd grade during the Euro dance craze of the early 90s. Just
hell yeah.
Ace of Base and 2 Unlimited and the Real McCoy.
Oh yeah.
And of course the Immortals, the Mortal Kombat theme song,
totally.
and then that Mortal Kombat the album they released.
Oh yeah.
Just that sort of hard hitting with a lot of little arps and a beat, and I just love that. And coming out of that, I got into punk rock. And sort of grunge era, Offspring and Nirvana, and then I was looking for something heavier. And going out of the 90s into the 2000s and new metal and stuff, I got really into Slipknot and Disturbed were big ones for me. And Il Nino and stuff. And at that same time, I sort of branched off. My paths sort of branched into new metal and electronic, and I got into drum and bass and trance and breakbeat electronica, like Crystal Method and stuff. And I knew I loved synthesizers, and I knew I loved guitars. And it was really around that time that, and I can't remember exactly when I discovered it or where, but that I discovered the Shizit on mp3.com.
mp3.com, yeah.
Yep, and my boy JP and his just sonic assault of guitars and synths and crazy shit, just that sort of brought those two paths back together.
Yeah.
And I started down that industrial rock path and got into like the early ones like Stabbing Westward and Gravity Kills and Nine Inch Nails, and then through the sort of drum and bass path, I discovered DJ Accucrack and through that, Crack Nation, and through his compilations, I discovered Cyanotic.
Good
And
stuff, man.
so it sort of split off during those teen years, and then sort of came back together.
Very cool.
You'll see a lot of the stuff on Dark Side of the Sun, which is stuff I wrote between the ages of 11 and 16. Definitely has more of the punk and rock inspirations, as opposed to, I think, later stuff, which is much more electronic.
Very cool.
But I wanted to get it out there to sort of show people that that journey that I was on.
No, it's fascinating. I wish I had some of my early horrific stuff. Like I have a little bit, and then maybe I'll put it out in the world. But it's really bad. It's no Dark Side of the Sun.
Well, there's a common misconception, and I don't know if it's the way that I'm wording it or not. I didn't record or program any of those songs in my teen years. That I did all that like a year and maybe 2 years ago. This is like modern production.
So it's
I wrote as in I came up with the lyrics and the riffs and stuff in my teen years.
So
I didn't have any of this technology when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
I just sort of played it over and over into my head to remember it, and then sort of cranked it out a year or two ago.
You couldn't back in the day. When I was in high school, at least, it was just knowing how electronic music was done was fascinating. I mean, this is before everybody had a grade A synthesizer on their phone in their pocket. Just getting hold of a drum machine or something like that, it was like this alchemy. It was like I'm listening to Birmingham 6 or whatever, and I don't know how this music was made. It was like sorcery.
Oh, that was the same with me. Like I thought, I listened to these bands, and I thought, if I want to make this music, I have to get a guitar player and a drummer, and I've got to have a separate dude on the keyboard to make these sounds, and then maybe another dude with a sampler or a turntable or something. It didn't occur to me I could just do it myself.
Yeah, the slow revelation that this can all be done by me was pretty like a watershed moment. But so speaking of presentation type stuff, does Nuclear Sun as Nuclear Sun play live these days?
Nuclear Sun would love to play live these days. Nuclear Sun has such a hard time getting booked in Northern California.
Okay.
There's just not really the scene for it up here.
Really? Okay.
I actually freelance live sound as a sound guy for a production company here.
Really?
Promoters and stuff, and it's pretty much like dad rock cover bands. Just kids doing grindcore and stuff for fun, and rap, and that's it.
Really? Okay. Well, come on out to Boston. We'll find something. That's too bad. I would love to see Nuclear Sun live. So if you're watching this and you're a promoter, let's make that happen.
Yeah, I did one show through that booking company early last year. I've got a lot of photos of it up. The great thing about that was I got a lot of good photos. I had a friend come and take photos.
Good stuff.
The bad thing was that venue's sound was garbage. Just everybody was backed away from the stage because there wasn't any padding or anything. It was just like a wash of sound, and it just I hate that feeling of feeling disconnected from everyone, like they're trying to get away from my sound.
Dude, yeah, it's the worst. Although we have superstar Jarvis Chris of Absinthe of Faith is in the chat room. Says Minneapolis would love to have you. And Matt Monson said get a Nuclear Sun at Cold Waves 9 would be a dream. So
I'm absolutely sure that I'm not on Cold Waves' radar at all, but I did get to play a song at Sanctuary last year.
Very cool.
And that crowd was amazing.
Sanctuary Festival was great. I've had nothing but wildly positive experiences with Sanctuary, and not just because my parents weirdly show up to that one, but because I'm from Milwaukee originally. That's where my mom and dad still live. But the reason that awkwardly stated Nuclear Sun as Nuclear Sun is because I know you just did a bunch of dates as part of Cyanotic on the Pig tour, and when we had you on initially as part of the Cyanotic episode, that had it was either just starting or had started like a little bit, I think. Which shirt is that?
And Draco.
And word. Um, so now that tour has concluded, what can you tell me about it? How was that experience? How was playing in Cyanotic?
Um, wow, it was an experience.
Okay.
It was a lot of good experience. It was a lot of. I mean, I don't want to speak negatively about it, but there were two factors that really screwed it up for me.
Yeah.
And the first of which is in California, there are such strict smoking laws. When you go to the East Coast and everybody's smoking, just by the end of that tour, I was nauseous, like I could not get enough oxygen. I just wasn't used to it.
Things
Hold on,
you don't
shirt
think
break.
about. Shirt break! This is the best episode. Oh, Cyanotic. Love it.
Yeah.
We,
So that was tough. I think also sort of mentally and emotionally, I wasn't in the right place. I was really struggling with Nuclear Sun and being around other people and their successful projects, getting a lot of recognition and nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, it's
is
a
tough.
lot. It's a lot. Like,
It was tough. But besides that, I love Sean and Jesse. They're basically like brothers to me.
Awesome.
I'm gonna forget their name and feel stupid. No, Primitive Evolution. The openers. They were really nice people.
Great.
I really connected with Owen, who was playing keyboards from them. He's from the Birthday Massacre.
Nice.
And then obviously the Pig guys. Like it's just growing up listening to KMFDM and stuff, and getting to sit in a dressing room in some small dive bar, like next to Steve White and Ann Ash.
That's awesome.
Just shooting the shit is like, it's hard to process that this is happening. It was
Totally.
They're such cool guys and so down to earth and really friendly. And
that's awesome.
I didn't get to talk to Raymond too much, but when I did, he was awesome. Galen, of course, from Left Spine Down and Lords of Acid was great.
Awesome.
I hope to get to see all of them again. It was a fantastic group of people.
Wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's a lot. There can be a lot going on a tour like that, but it sounds like some pretty awesome stuff happened. But back into Nuclear Sun and Nuclear Sun adjacent type stuff. What is After Effect? Tell me about, or excuse me, Affect Effect. Effect. See, now we know. Like we're learning.
Yeah, that started off as a way to get out of the Nuclear Sun headspace and just try things that I normally wouldn't try for Nuclear Sun. Though I just sort of set two rules for myself: that do something new every song, not something new that's never been done, but something that I've never tried.
Okay.
And then the second rule was no guitars.
Okay.
Because it's such my go-to to have these sort of frequency-filling guitars in my music.
Okay.
And then I wanted to, it sort of came into trying to capture the sound of sort of a sci-fi cyberpunk setting that was actually sort of unpleasant and dirty and grimy and cold.
Okay.
Because so much of that, the music people associate with cyberpunk is like synthwave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really more of that sort of 80s neon aesthetic, which is cool, but it's not how, it doesn't make me feel those sort of back alley,
right,
like hacker dens and stuff.
Yeah, you want to be buying grimy computer drugs from Space Moss Eisley.
I wanted to make like the cyberpunk underground sort of more of an atmospheric soundtrack rather than what the band in those clubs would be playing, but sort of the feeling that you get from walking around those streets with
Very
those neon
cool.
signs and like cyber prostitutes with robot limbs
Totally.
asking if you want a robo hand job, or I don't know.
There's the next track name right there. What is
Robo
up
hand
to?
job.
What's up to David from Subspace? Adam Schneider says effect is dope. Check that out on what, like Facebook. Where would we find the affect effect?
Uh, it has its own Facebook. You can find it on glitchmode.com in the artist section. It's on there.
Glitchmode.com.
I've got
Awesome.
2 EPs and a single, and I'm working on maybe a full album with some guest vocals.
Busy boy. Awesome. I love that. Like this guy does not stop. Spit. And you have something of a third musical hobby. What is up to? Oh no, we have David in stereo. Something of a third musical offering style. You've created some pretty amazing mashups. I want you. You've been nice enough to let me cut to the following. Uh,
All right.
we're just gonna. This is a taste. We're not gonna do the whole thing, but ladies and gentlemen, here's just a little bit of a taste of some of the Nuclear Sun mashup masters.
On her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Then 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 they don't stop coming. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid.
All right, and we're back. That was pretty bonkers. What is
Pretty
up
bonkers.
to Doug of Nevada Hardware in
Doug.
the city says keep cyberpunk grimy. I dig it. So we can catch some more of those crazy mashup styles.
Yeah, I've been trying to find an outlet, like a more official release venue for that stupid humor of mine.
Well,
But
I mean,
sometimes you just have to do stuff like that to have fun with music, especially when you're writing a lot of dark stuff.
totally.
You
Where
gotta remember that music is like you're doing it for fun and it's not work, and you don't have to constrain yourself to these sort of genres you put yourself in. And that's what that stuff is.
good stuff. There's also a 3 Days Grace Smash Mouth mashup in the world that works way too well. But check out those crazy mashups on SoundCloud. Is that? Can I ask you about like software stuff? Like, how'd you put that together?
That was largely just digging up stems online. You'll find a lot of them from the Rock Band days
Oh, okay.
that people sort of ripped out of there. And then just Ableton's Warp feature.
Very cool.
Sometimes it'll line up well. Sometimes you gotta chop it up and stretch it to make
Right.
it fit. A big part of it too is just finding songs that are similar in key.
Mhm.
I know there's definitely some skilled mashup guys out there like Neil Ciceriega, who use stuff like Melodyne to change the pitch of
Mhm.
individual notes when people sing. That's a little beyond me. But
Well, when you have gems like that sort of served up, I think you're good to go. Um, so like getting into the existential, if Nuclear Sun was like a race, or like, by which I mean a species, on not a foot race,
Right.
on Star Trek, which one would they be, do you think?
I thought about this for a while.
Uh-huh.
After you asked me before, and I thought about Were there times in Star Trek when they had races with the ships, and I was trying to think of what you're talking about a Star Trek race. But probably Klingons, because it's very aggressive and angry, but it comes from a sort of noble and centered place. I've talked to people about this a lot, especially when it comes to my own parents and their involvement in my music. They'll come to shows every now and then, the few shows I've had, and or listen to my stuff out of, parents being nice. And they're always asking me, like, why don't you write happier music? And it's a tough question for me because I feel like my music isn't sad. I feel like it comes not from a place of like sort of dejected or apathetic or sort of sulking, but more defiant anger. The subjects can be about things that are unpleasant and not fun and just things in the world or on a global scale or things on a personal scale that hurt or wrong me or others. But it's never, oh, this is happening and it sucks and my life sucks. It's more, I like to think of it more cathartic and therapeutic, like this is happening and I don't like it and I'm not going to take it, sort of.
Right. I've detected there's a triumphant energy almost. Yeah. Like very Klingon, very cool. Like so drop some Kapla samples in the next track. It'll be pretty awesome. Awesome.
Shirt change.
Shirt change.
I only got a few more.
Oh boy.
Wait, I think I got 2 shirts here.
Yeah, good stuff. I caught Rabbit Junk last year in Boston, and they crushed. Yeah, I will occasionally call myself the Goxicles. So Nuclear Sun as Klingons is pretty bang on. Your logo is kind of like the Klingon insignia too. So
just kind of, yeah.
I think that's a perfect answer. So like.
That logo is actually relatively recent. This guy who played guitar for Nuclear Sun, Dan, or Decaying Art, designed it for me. He doesn't really do music much anymore, but he's a graphic designer. But for the longest time, Nuclear Sun's sun was an asterisk. That's where that asterisk comes from when I spell it. Because I wrote it in this font where when you hit the asterisk, it made the asterisk the size of all the other letters.
Okay.
And I thought it looked like kind of a star or something. And then I discovered this other font where when you hit it, it made it like a pentagram, and I thought that was cool and metal. But when I was doing this sort of the cleansing thing and coming back to really taking music seriously, I realized that pentagram has meaning for people, like actual meaning, and for me it was just like angsty teen.
Right.
Thing, and I wanted to make the Nuclear Sun logo something that actually said Nuclear Sun.
Very cool. Well, it's a pretty awesomely effective logo, I must say. So like, if let's say 3 of your influences got together and like started a pretzel factory, what shapes might the pretzels come in?
I think it would definitely be like, the really big pretzel sticks?
Totally.
It'd be, I think, something like that, because it's very sort of straight and to the point.
Okay. Yes.
I've always liked music and tried to write music that interpreting stuff and having it have different meanings for different people is fun, but I feel like if you want to say something and you write it so sort of poetic and metaphoric that people don't get it, that it's kind of a waste.
Interesting.
So I've tried to write music and lyrics in a way that people understand what I'm talking about.
Totally.
So they can relate to it instead of being like, what's this guy talking about?
Right. That's really cool. So, I mean, if you take away anything from episode 43 of Space Couch here, is that it's Nuclear Sun is the big straight pretzel of industrial music. I love it. I love it. So, um, after the Big Pig tour and the brief Nuclear Sun gigs you have had, what might your dream gig or the ideal gig for Tal be?
You know, something I've realized in my time doing this that I'm really good at is making friends with artists. Like, it might be part of why I don't get shows, because I'm not great at making friends with promoters. But I've connected with a lot of artists, and just getting to play shows with those friends and getting to tour with them and spend more time with them, I think would be really cool. And there's so many names that I could throw out, but take the rest of the show. But just getting to spend more time with those people has become the highlight of doing this for me.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. Like, I'm very much looking forward. I haven't been back to the Midwest really since I moved out to the East Coast, but I'm really looking forward for these few dates with Conform Co. Sweat Boys, Absent of Faith, just to hang out.
At Cold Waves, I got to do a little sort of sound teching for Conform Co. I'm not sure if it was just their way of getting me in, but I got to do that for them, and it's such a fun live show to see those guys. I wish that they had guitar in their music so I could be in the band, but just getting to be there and see them is great.
All right.
And, yeah,
well,
getting to play with friends is especially when you're a solo producer and you spend so much time in your room alone with your music. Like getting to be out there with other people who like your music and you like their music and you like the same music. That's what I crave.
Fantastic. Yeah, I started going to these little, they called noise salons in David
Noise
Colchin.
salon.
Yeah, it's my buddy Deathly, who is the other gossicle. It's just there's like 10 people like at his house, and everybody takes a turn doing like a noise set, and it's the fucking best. Just because it's a bunch of friends. But I do like the it's nice to do like a Helsinki, Finland every now and then, where there's like a theater full of people who all speak English and know your song name. But like, it's also great to be to just kind of meet people. Like, we just had a gig here in Boston for like the chiptune side of things, and like that's like a whole other group of people that I'm getting to know, and it's pretty awesome. That's a pretty awesome answer. Doug Jones says that was a great show. Oh,
He was talking about Conform Co. at Cold Waves.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, I got to see Doug there too.
Oh, yeah. Cold. Yeah, I haven't been to a Cold Waves in a second, but I take it that was a pretty good time.
Yep. Awesome. I missed these ones with the Thrill Kill Cult they did, but those were supposedly huge. Like, I think Conform Co. is just completely underexposed for how just an awesome show that is.
Okay. All right.
It's really grown on me, just that it's so like danceable and jumpable and high energy and fun.
Yeah, and I am a sucker for a theme band. So the matching corporate windbreakers make a little novelty flame, a light in. That's the wrong use of the word a light. But it makes me ablaze in my heart. But speaking of things that are on fire, back to that giant flaming ball of gas or miasma of plasma in the sky. Nuclear Sun, what might be next for you, sir?
I've got an entire other album I'm working on, sort of in that MCU timeline of backed up releases that I have. I'm not sure when I'm going to release that. The next big thing is going to be remixes for Dark Side of the Sun. And, of course, featuring your amazing remix I just heard last night.
Yeah, we got it in. Big ups to Control Shift for making that sound better and getting it to tell before the show today. But
Yep.
thank you. Thanks. That was a fun one.
I've had some, with the cleansing remixes, I had some bad experiences with people who I paid and didn't deliver. So I'm not announcing names until they actually submit. But so far I've got the Gothsicles, of course, and a remix from Slider.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have some effect remixes, which are fun.
How'd you get that guy? I heard he's good.
It's interesting to reapproach my music and then like set rules for myself. Like it can't have guitars. I got to cut the guitars out, but still make it interesting. I'm going to give Nevada Hardware credit, even though he hasn't turned his in yet, because he's been telling me he's working on it.
Well,
and I'm just like really stoked to have a Nevada Hardware remix.
Yeah, Nevada Hardware is dope as fuck. Saw him in Fort Boston had Convergence this year, and Nevada just crushed. It was really, really great. And former guest of the show. So thanks to Doug. Well, I am looking forward to that. Do you think that's going to be this year?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Definitely looking for that in a month or two.
And the
Shirt chain.
What's that? Oh, shirt change time. What's it gonna be?
Oh, that's two shirts.
Touch it gonna be.
Second to last one.
Oh man, classic cyanotic logo.
I got too many friends to rep. I just put on a ton of shirts.
That's how I met. I did a gig in Phoenix. That's how I met Amnestic. They're like, "We heard you did a track with Cyanotic." I'm like, yeah, it's great. So big ups to them. Jarvis says remix. Yes, we're watching an apparel remix right before our eyes. Now that's what I call angry robot music, and compilations of that stripe back in the glitch mode side of things. Do you try to put those out on any sort of schedule, or is it just like when you feel like it's time to drop another amazing compilation?
When I took this position, I tried to push for having it be a yearly thing, but we ended up not wanting to make it too forced.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a combination of when the mood strikes and when sort of the cards line up. And so far, it's been kind of alternating end of the year and beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a beginning of the year last one. We might do another sort of Christmas one this year.
Fantastic.
We've been joking a lot about the this song and music video we did several years back. Some people may be familiar with, called the Goth Girl Party.
I haven't seen that one.
Featuring our made-up band, The Boo-Hoos. And we've been talking about doing maybe a Halloween-themed comp featuring that and some remixes of that. So that might come up this year.
You heard it here first. You might see Boo-Hoo's returning for Halloween. We have a question in the chat room. Matt Monson wants to know, wasn't there supposed to be a physical release of Dark Side of the Sun?
There was supposed to be, and there will be, for the people who like those things. I'm still deciding if I want to wait for the remix album to come out and then do a 2-disc sort of thing with both of them or not. So we'll see. It will definitely come out this year.
Okay.
It's, as everybody who does this knows, kind of a money sink commitment.
I don't know if I'm gonna be doing physical media, like at least for gothical shit. Like some Tiger Squawk stuff, like that Monomer NH thing is coming out on vinyl, and like that's cool. But like, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think?
I personally, I want to do a physical for Dark Side of the Sun, like old school jewel case with a lyric book. Just
Look
because
at
it's
you, really.
only because that album is so 90s industrial rock,
Okay, no, I love
both
that. Then
inspired and stuff. That for me, like part of that dream in releasing that was releasing it on a CD, like all
Okay.
the CDs I listened to. After that, I'm not so sure because it's hanging on to overstock and stuff, and having your room
Right.
fill up with boxes of CDs is such a drag.
Yeah,
And I want to get stuff for the fans who want it, but when you've got to order minimums,
yeah, it's true. Like, you know, it's a matter of like, do I keep my winter clothes around or have this drawer filled up with copies of Gasoline and Vertebrate? But I love the idea that you've been working on this thing. The name comes from when you were 9. The lyrics come from when you were 11. So of course you would want to recapture that magic of opening up that plastic jewel case for the first time and taking out the thing and reading the lyrics and stuff like
yeah,
that.
absolutely. That's
And
part of the experience for me.
part of the
then.
experience back.
I used to get like $20 each week for like that was supposed to last me, like it was supposed to pay for lunch for the week, and I would just not eat, and then Friday come home from school and stop at the record store and get something new every week.
Yeah, and if it was bad, it was this devastating loss.
Oh, so many where you like heard the single or something on the radio,
Yeah.
and you're like, "This is awesome," and then it's an album full of filler.
You just that one song, like all the production value went into. So, I am going to
I got 2 things I'd like to announce before.
fuck yeah, dude, do it.
Yeah. All right. The first, I told I'm gonna pronounce her name wrong, but woman from Vor Aurora,
Yeah.
who I helped with the Not Your Music compilation. That thing is out. There's an exclusive Nuclear Sun remix on it. I believe it's at. I'm gonna double check. I should have brought this up. Wrong keyword. Not your body.bandcamp.com. The Not Your Body music compilation. It goes to charity for a good cause to fight against people trying to make laws for women's bodies who aren't even women. There's a remix on there I'm really proud of. There's also a Slider remix of Aurora that's great.
Awesome.
So definitely check that out.
Give me that URL one more time, please.
It is notyourbody.bandcamp.com.
Awesome.
And the second thing is we are in the process of starting our own podcast for Glitch Mode. It's been something Hal from Paralyze and I have been talking about forever. And this year I was like, I want to stop being that guy who we talk about this once a month and never do it.
Right.
So we've started getting ready to do that. Part of the first episode is going to be nailing down what the name of it is. So we don't have a name yet, but it will have a name before it's released, and it should be out before the end of the month.
Oh, this month, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
awesome.
probably gonna record it next or the weekend after.
Yeah, will we find that at, you think, glitchmode.com or where?
The Glitch Mode Facebook and the Glitch Mode Instagram will probably be a good place for that. We'll probably signal boost it on our own pages.
Sure.
That's
exciting.
Cyanotic and Hal from Paralyze are going to be on it on the first episode, and me, of course.
What kinds of things are you going to get into, you think?
We're going to talk a lot about the things that inspire us, sort of on a more, I don't want to say day-to-day, but more recent level. We talk a lot about, I listened to Gravity Kills when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Sean grew up watching these 80s action sci-fi horror movies.
Hell yeah.
We all know that he loves the Terminator and RoboCop and stuff.
I haven't heard that, actually. I'm kidding.
But talk more about sort of the recent things that sort of in media, music, TV, movies that inspire us and that we like.
Okay, awesome.
We're also going to because we get so many submissions to glitch mode. And a lot of it's great, but not a lot of it is glitch mode.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use this as sort of a time to signal boost some of those people. We're going to be
That's
reviewing a
exciting.
fan-submitted song, giving them some constructive feedback, and letting people hear other artists.
That's such a good idea. Oh, great. Looking forward to that. So check out that unnamed podcast later this month. I mean, thank you for the announcement. That's something I want to check out. You want to check out notyourbody.bandcamp.com, of course, nuclearsun.bandcamp.com. And we have our final. We made it. Last boss. Yeah. Oh my God. This is the first level up t-shirt guest I've had. So thank you for creating a new challenge on Space Couch. It is the best. I'm gonna go on.
Yeah, the thing about I forgot to mention.
Go on.
The challenge on that tour with Cyanotic was you can't go on a tour with wearing just your own band's shirts.
Okay.
And I own so much of my wardrobe is Cyanotic shirts. I realized
right.
that it just restricted the shirts I could wear so drastically. I've got so many band shirts.
Yeah, I really had to slim it down. I may have to make like a quilt or something out of caustic shirts. But that is that is a good rule. Avoid wearing your own band shirt, I think. We'll go out on that unless you want any final thoughts.
Thanks to all my friends who tuned into this.
Yeah.
Jarvis, David, Matt, Angie, Doug, Adam, Jeek, anyone else I'm forgetting? I love you all. You're why I do this.
Yeah, all right. And credits. So we traditionally can talk over these if you want. Yeah, no, this is great. I'm gonna have to see if anybody else does the new T-shirt challenge here on the new season 3 of Space Couch.
That'd be
I mean, it's already been done. Get your own gimmick. It's not a challenge. Nobody else can do that now.
Yeah.
That's the Nuclear Sun gimmick. All right.
I wrote my own material for this bit.
There you go. Don't be a joke.
You guys come up with your own jokes.
Hell yes.